Stick found the ring in a chest near the eastern ravine. Small, dark, unremarkable.
The kind of item that looked like it belonged to a different server entirely.
He picked it up without thinking much about it. He brought it back to the base.
Spoony identified it before Stick had finished explaining. An invisibility ring.
Wear it and you become completely undetectable. No outline, no shadow, no footstep sound. Invisible. E. But only when alone. The moment another player came within 20 blocks, the invisibility broke.
Not gradually, instantly. You reappeared mid-step, mid-action, exactly where you were, Spoony said. This is extraordinary. He was already planning.
The deep cave expedition, the dangerous corridors they'd been mapping, Stick could go. Ahead invisibly, scout the terrain, come back with information. Nobody could get any other way.
The risk dropped to almost nothing, Spike said. If something goes wrong when he's invisible and alone, nobody knows where he is, Spoony said. Nothing will go wrong.
Spike said, that's not how probability works. Mugsy said nothing. He was looking at the ring. Stick said, I want to try it. Nobody objected. Stick put on the ring. He disappeared.
He was still there. He could see his own hands, faintly like a watermark on the world. He could feel the ground under his feet.
But when he looked at the squad, they were looking at that space where he'd been standing, not at him. Through him,
Spoony was already talking something about the cave expedition, something about mapping routes. He was looking slightly to Stick's left. Spike had his tines at the gentle position. He was quiet.
Mugsy was looking directly at where Stick was standing, not through him, at him. The heavy-lidded eye, the expression that never changed. Looking at the exact right spot, Stick said, Mugsy.
Mugsy said, I can hear you. Stick said, can you see me? Mugsy said, no, but I know where you are. Stick took the ring off. He reappeared.
The squad looked at him, Spoony mid-sentence. Spike with the same quiet tines. Mugsy with the same expression. Stick said, what did it feel like when I disappeared? Spoony said, efficient.
Stick said, I'm asking Spike. Spike thought for a moment. He said, like the session was missing something, but I couldn't have said what. Stick looked at Mugsy. Mugsy said, nothing.
Stick said, nothing. Mugsy said, I always know where you are. Long silence. Stick put the ring back on. Invisible again.
He walked away from the squad past the storage chests, past a reinforced wall, to the edge of the hill where the valley dropped away below. He stood there. He could see everything.
The base behind him, the squad still at the crafting table, the valley below, the eastern ravine, the bridge, the whole server visible from the edge of the hill. Nobody could see him.
He stood there for a long time. It was quiet in a different way than usual quiet. Not the absence of noise, but the absence of being registered, of mattering to the space he was in.
He took the ring off. Lumi was beside him on the hill edge. She sat beside him. He put the ring in his hand and looked at it. A ring, Stick said. Invisible when alone.
Breaks when someone gets close. I tried it. I stood at the edge of the hill, and nobody could see me. Can I tell you something? Stick looked at her.
There's a difference between privacy and invisibility. Privacy is choosing what others see. Invisibility is not being seen at all, even when you're present, even when you want to be.
The brain processes both differently. Privacy feels like control. Invisibility activates. The same neural pathways as exclusion, even when you chose it, even when no one excluded you.
The brain doesn't care that you put the ring on yourself. It just knows nobody can see you. Stick thought about standing at the edge of the hill, about the specific quiet of not being registered.
I chose it, he said. I put it on. Yes, Lumi said. And it still felt like something. Stick thought about Mugsy. About I always know where you are. Mugsy could find me, he said.
Mugsy knew where you were, Lumi said. Her glow was warm. That's different from seeing you, but it's also not nothing. Stick looked at the ring. Small, dark, unremarkable.
Should I use it for the expedition? He asked. Lumi was quiet for a moment. That's not the question I'd ask, she said.
The question I'd ask is, when you were invisible and standing at the edge of the hill, what were you hoping for? Stick thought about it. About the squad at the crafting table.
About Spoony talking to the wrong spot. About Spike's quiet. About Mugsy looking at exactly the right place. I think I was hoping someone would notice, he said.
Lumi's glow pulsed once the warmest it had ever been. That's not a small thing to know about yourself, she said. What would you do if you could disappear?